What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again for another Destiny 6 video. Thank you guys so much for coming back and tuning in. Yeah, buddy. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be focusing on some team building tips that I believe that should be able to help you out, just accelerate your progression that much more. I got three in mind, but then one final thought that I want to bust out with regards to this topic here. So I'm going to get right into it here. First one being the leader skill. So you guys already have gone through the tutorial. You already know how important this is. But one of the things that I think it's kind of like talked about, but not really understood completely, is that aspect of leverage, that leader skill leverage. So when you are incorporating a particular hero in the leader skill, that hero, when you are on that monster stage, you'll be able to see if you got an advantage or disadvantage to it. What that means is that when you are in that particular position and you have the advantage, the damage that you take from that particular stage is going to be reflective upon that particular slot. So for example, if you had yourself a paper boss, right, and you had a, like I have right now, I have Wukong in the top spot in the scissors, I'm going to be able to have all of my monsters essentially represent the scissors and be able to take 30% less damage, because that is how the affinity chart works. It's 30% damage whether you're going up, with the advantage, or 30% down when you're going on the disadvantage here. So something to definitely make note of. However, that's just for the aspect of taking damage. Now, when it comes to dishing out damage, each individual's hero is going to be, their damage is going to be applied. So even though you have that reduced amount of damage that you're going to be able to take advantage of with the leader skill, keep that in mind, because if you're bringing a composition that is utilizing a good leader skill, but the other units are going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to DPS, and you start to fail, that may be one of the reasons why you are having troubles with that particular aspect, okay? Next one that I want to talk about here as far as the tips go is the placement of your heroes. Now, of course, even though you guys know we're using 4 heroes in our team, the 3 main heroes in the middle area and the top are going to be the ones that are going to be represented on the map. The striker is only going to be coming out when we see it, when we use our striker abilities. So one of the things to point out is that with regards to these particular ones here, if you ever looked at the team info, you're going to be able to see the combined stats when it comes to team HP, team attack types. So you guys can get an idea of the kind of damage that you're going to be able to do with this particular team, right? However, if you were to mix things up and you saw that you wanted to go ahead and make some adjustments on your team, like, oh, you know what, for example, I'm going to go ahead and take my Natalia out, and I want to use her regular abilities, not just her striker ability, and see what we could do. You will notice that the stats on your team are going to change, right? So it's reflective of who you got in the top 3 spots here. One of the mistakes that I made, I think in the last video, is that I was generally running a team that had a different striker, and because of that, one of my main units that has a lot of HP was in that striker spot, essentially bringing down my overall HP for the team. So I was taking, well, I thought I was taking a lot more damage. It's not because I was taking more damage, it's because just my overall health was a little bit low, so the damage that I was doing reflected a little bit harder, right? So that is something to keep in mind. Take advantage of this team info screen so you can kind of see what's going on, where your stats are, so you can use that to your advantage here, okay? One thing that is probably important to mention as well is the placement of your heroes. Now, I don't think this is crazy important, but this might help you out, and let me go ahead and explain myself. So when it comes to the way how it's set up in the stages, right, in the scenarios when you're fighting, these 3 on the top, right, are going to be essentially how is this placed in your lineup here. So your skills from Carlotta, like for my skills from Carlotta, are going to be the one on the far left. My leader is going to be the one in the middle, and then of course Francisca is going to be the one on the right. So one thing to think about is when it comes to just the organization of your heroes is, what does it help for you to just have everything the way it is, or do you find yourself in a situation where if you organize it a little bit better, it may allow you to cycle through your skills a little bit effectively? And I say that with a fine line here, because again, we all know that we're trying to utilize our skills and just get those breaking skills in and spam it and do this and that. However, remember that certain units that you have are not just damage dealers, but debuffers. So it may make sense for you to organize your skills if you can, so that if you're going from like left to right, you know, you buff up, and then your main one in the middle is going to provide some damage, but it also provides a defense break or an attack break or something of the sort, that's going to reduce the damage that the opponent could do, right? It's going to have some kind of debuffs. And then your third one, right, the one on the far right, is the one that also does damage, whether it's line of sight or AoE, but maybe it's damage that can be amplified if there are multiple debuffs, or if this is just one of your straight nukers that could do a ton of damage. Waiting until your main, you know, two units have already provide those, it might be good. Sometimes when we get an opportunity, we're just cycling through our skills and we see that, oh, let's just click that, and that should be fine. But some people may prefer organize their skills from left to right, right to left, whichever way you do, so that you can essentially make it a little bit easier for you to cycle your skills effectively. So keep that in mind when you are going out there in the scenario modes, okay? Next one up is going to be the balance aspect here. So if you guys see on the screen, you have 3 different sections, right, that you can go ahead and set up your teams. And I don't think that is a coincidence. When it comes to the affinity, we have 3 different elements or types, right? We got rock, paper, scissors. So considering everything that we just discussed and the true advantage of being able to take a balanced team against your opponent and do some additional damage or have reduced damage because of your elemental advantage, I think it's important to make sure that you are organizing your 3 slots in that manner, right? So what I'm saying is, like, for example, and obviously this, I'm a bad example, right? Because I just rearranged some, so they're all going to be off. I'm a very scissor dominant account right now, so I need to level up my rocks and my papers. However, if I were to, you know, create a composition, I would have one slot here for my essentially my rock team, which is predominantly, you know, rock attackers, like maybe 2 rocks and 2 scissors. My next team would be something like 2 scissors and 2 papers, right? And then my third team would be 2 papers and 2 rocks or something of the sort. So what I'm trying to say is that I would organize my team so that at least 2 of my heroes have that, you know, at least 2 of my heroes have that elemental advantage on the boss when it comes to damage. I think that's going to be very important, okay? And then, of course, when it comes to those particular, you know, managing which elements you should have, I feel like the attackers, the one that are dealing out the damage, obviously there's going to be a little bit more of an emphasis on when you're creating the teams, make sure that your attackers in that particular team have that elemental advantage, because again, even though your leader skill is going to be representative of your team when taking damage, the ones that are dishing out damage, you want to make sure that you do have that elemental advantage on the boss stage, not just thinking about the leader skill at hand, but also your damage that you'll be able to present in your team, okay? And then the final thing to think about is going to be the farming stages. So this is not really part of, like, you know, team building and whatnot, but I just want to kind of talk about it because one of the things that we're going to deal with quite a bit here is, you know, clearing out through the scenario stages. We're going to be trying to do as much as we can, but ultimately one of the things you're going to realize is you're going to be hitting a lot of plateaus, just for the simple fact that these levels do you know, grow exponentially as far as the skill that is involved, not just in the maneuvering, but the abilities that is brought, the resistances that these units are bringing. And so it is very important to make sure that you are taking the time to go back a few stages, level up your heroes, as well as collect orbs for your particular lineup, because of course you're going to be getting new heroes left and right, and you want to make sure that all of them are reasonably equipped and are, you know, getting leveled up on a reasonable basis here. So one of the things that I wanted to point out for you is when it comes to leveling up, I don't want to say there's a specific you know, stage that's better than not, but if I may make a comment just based on my experience, if I were to pick a stage that I would say, hey, once you have the ability to farm it, you know, and do the auto repeat, what should that stage be? I think it should be the last boss stage in whatever scenario area that you're in, that you're able to clear automatically. Why is that? Because similar to Summoner's War, all these other stages that you can do, you can collect certain things, but you can only get certain orbs per the slot of the stage, right? So if we're on stage 9, the boss stage, you're going to have the opportunity to collect all slots for the orbs, allowing you to farm, if you're going to be farming this one literally for hours, you're going to be able to collect a nice variety of the orbs in all spots, so that you don't have to worry about getting certain slots for certain ones here. So that's pretty much it, guys, with regards to those particular topics. Let me know what you think about those team building tips. Let me know if you guys have anything that you have learned along the way, as again, while I am making these little small videos, tip videos, guide videos, whatever, obviously there is a lot to learn when it comes to this game, and I'm looking forward for the community to kind of come together and essentially put the things that we learned down in the comment section down below. Okay, thank you all so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, or ChildishPlays, checking out. Take care, and we will see you all in the next Destiny 6 video. I'm out.